Hey YouTubers, I'm going to show you some stuff here. My four-wheeler broke and I've been trying to get up a video of explaining it, and my daughter's going to want to ride hers this weekend, so I made a few modifications. If I do get all the videos up, there'll be better at explaining what happened, but there's welded nuts on the inside of what I call the bearing carrier. It's the rear end of the four-wheeler, but mine broke off and it slid forward. That's why my chain worked loose. To avoid this happening to my daughters, I've made a couple modifications. And if it does break at some point, I'm just going to have to weld it like I did mine. This is the original hardware that goes on there, and everyone that has any mechanical aptitude whatsoever knows that you cannot put a lock washer with a flat washer, because when you do, it'll just slide, the flat washer will, and it just pretty much negates even having a lock washer there. This is a pretty chintzy lock washer anyway. So I threw out them. Let me get my camera back on so I can see. The screen keeps going off on it. So I went and bought a bag of these, which if you compare them, there's pretty much, we're talking a lot of difference there. And the offset in them is almost non-existent on that piece of junk. And these are a lot better. So I put one there, and then, I don't know if I can get in here so you can see them, but I put one on both of the adjuster bolts, which had no hardware on them at all. They just ran through. The reason the lock washer will work on these is because this is like a big washer, but it's retained by this. It won't spin. If you put a loose washer underneath of a lock washer, that washer is going to spin. It may be locked to the nut pretty good, but it's going to just slide there. So anyway, basic mechanics 101. But that put all the force from me, being fat as I am, on this, and it broke the two little measly tack welds that they had. I mean, no penetration whatsoever. I mean, just pathetic. So what I did was I replaced her hardware, tightened her chain. I even greased her adjuster there. It's held on by one bolt under there, and it comes off, and I greased the shaft so it would slide. I guess people has an aversion to grease nowadays. That stuff's just bad. Everything has to be sealed, maintenance free, and a lot of times it doesn't, allow. So I'm going to be watching her bearings and this. I'm going to leave the cover off, but that's my decision on my machine. You have to weigh your safety versus, well, I can see that, because I don't want the chain coming off on her and her coming back down off of a hill and wrecking the machine, rolling over on her and killing her, because you can't see this when this stupid cover is covering all of this. So I left the bolts in there in case I need them later, but I took it off, and you're responsible for your own safety. I didn't tell everyone to do that. I'm saying I took it off of my machine because I feel it's safer without it, because who's going to reach all the way down around the racks and get their hand in the freaking chain while you're driving? You have to have some long arms on you, buddy. But anyway, and it seemed like it could get more stuff caught in there anyway. So I took it off mine. You can leave it on yours. You can take it off. I don't care what you do, but I'm not responsible for it. The only thing I see was kind of chintzy on these is there's one bolt holding the whole back of the step. Now in the front there is pretty decent looking bracket set up there, but there's one little bolt in the back, not even a brace or anything on it. So I don't know how long that'll last with me getting on and off there. So the way these are made, the more I look at them, they're a kid's four-wheeler. They're not for adults. They say, and they can't even add up. They talk about GVW and all of that stuff. And most of them places, they don't know what they're even saying because their numbers don't add up. So anyway, this is Allie's four-wheeler. It's ready to go again. Uh, we're going to run this one like that, and then if I have any problems with it, I'm going to take it apart and put good bearings in it, and I'll put that grease zerk in it like I've made for mine. Mine's up front here drying. I spray painted it yesterday after I got all the modifications done to it. So this sets on there like that. You can see I drilled and added the grease zerk in there, and if you see I welded and even put stitches down around the side there to strengthen this. Not the best looking welds, but I did penetrate the bolts, and I welded the bolt on with the bolt in it so it doesn't distort the nut getting it that hot. If you don't put the bolt in it, there's a good chance that you can distort it. But painted it all up, made it look pretty. Yeah, maybe the only thing on there that doesn't rust. But that's the modifications I made to mine, and I'm hoping that'll hold. I did get my bearings out good. To go along with the grease zerk, I drilled some holes, and they're not straight or anything, but there's like 6 of them. It lets the grease from the outside to the inside, because this is a spacer pipe. It goes in here in between the bearings. Another thing I'm going to do, I want to pop these panels out of the side of these bearings and run them open, because it'll let the grease push out through them. I had to replace the one seal that was bad, and that should be it. I'm waiting on it for the seal today. I'm going to reuse the old bearings for now, and then I want to get some good bearings and put in it. I probably should go ahead and get new bearings for it, but after you pay for a 4-wheeler, you're kind of low on cash. But at least it won't break on me this time, I hope. And if it does, I'm giving up. Like I said, they're kids' 4-wheelers. Don't let them say full size. No, they're for young adults under 150 pounds probably. I wouldn't, I want to see how mine holds up, but honestly, with the way them, the steps, the running boards are made, and how thin them ears are on the rear end, I just don't see. If you go over $150, I'd say no, it's not for you. Get something bigger. More I think about these, the less of a deal they actually are. Because honestly, you're getting a 150, a very light 2-wheel drive 150, for like $1,000. Well, $1,200 by the time you get it here, or 12 something by the time you get it here. And then you got to put it together, and then repaint half of it, and then fix your rear end. Which supposedly they are sending me a new one, and they did get it. I got a tracking number, and it left. So, of course, like my grandma said, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. Always check your yeast. And you can poop in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one gets fullest the first. Of course, she survived both World Wars and the Great Depression, so she knew what it was like to, she knew what value in living cheaply and honestly, and a lot better than we do nowadays. We don't really need 4-wheelers, but they're fun. But anyway, by the time you spend, okay, this old go-kart here, I spent $100 on it. Well, then I'll probably put $100 in the shocks, and then, a few other things. But it's 169 cc and it's 6.5 horsepower. Now they went away from saying what they're using Newton meters of force and all this stupid. They really need to just put horsepower so that everyone knows the same rating. That's 150 cc. It's not even 6.5 horsepower. It's about 6. I mean, it runs good. It doesn't climb really steep hills. I mean, it's fairly steep, but it's good for a kid. It says 16 and older. It's a full-size ATV. I'd keep it as a late teenager ATV. Or if you're a skinny adult, you can do it, but it's not meant for heavy people. Like I said, I get 275. And I had a little backpack and had my 92 with me and, my helmet. So I don't think I went over 300. And the one website says they can go You know, it's a 360 pound capacity. I don't see someone weighing 350 jumping on these and bashing them around. They won't take it. But that's my philosophy. You can get you a four-wheel drive 500, you know, for like $6 grand or so. If you think about it, that's a lot more four-wheeler and it's four-wheel drive. You know, you get you a 250 racing bike, you know, this two-wheel drive in the $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000 range. That's going to run a lot better and last a lot longer. And you don't have to repaint it and put it together when you get it. It's dollars to pesos, man, but they're not the huge bargain that everyone, you know, thinks they are. But they are fun, and they do go pretty good. I mean, for a two-wheel drive, they've surprised me. But this little thing is fun too, and it costs us $200, maybe $250 by the time we got everything in it. But you know, it's a load of fun too, and it's a lot cheaper than that. So, the more you think about it before you buy it. And if you're a heavy guy, you might want to get something a little heavier, because these ain't going to do hill climbs. Trust me, they ain't going to do that. They will go up some hills and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but and if you just need one to ride around the farm, you're probably right. I mean, they'd be okay for that. But of course, farms in West Virginia are got kind of steeper hills. But anyway, that's the bottom of it. I want to do some video of assembling this and putting her back together, and hopefully she'll hold, and we'll see what happens when it happens. Hey, later YouTube. Hey YouTubers, I am one seal away from getting this back together. I already got my spacer in there. I got the bearing and the seal in on this side. The seal that was bad, yeah, you need to put grease on the inside of these seals. I mean, it came totally dry. No wonder they wear out. I mean, because they don't grease them. These, I modified the bearings a little bit. I'm reusing the Chinese ones. They have these seals, and they just pop in. So they're not really watertight or anything. You can just take a little pick and pop them out, both sides. So there's 4 of them. So whenever I use my grease zerk that I added, it's going to push it out through these bearings, and it's going to take and let me grease them. Yes, there will be maintenance on the four-wheeler, but that keeps water and dirt and stuff out of it, So, wife's bringing home the other seal that I had to replace, and like I said, I got these welded up. I got this thing painted. The difference in the hardware is just, this is the old stuff. This is what I'm putting on it. I got them all set up there with them and everything ready. I'm just waiting for a seal. How I put these in there, just use my trusty old baby rattle, no, dead blow hammer. And this is the closest one I had, was 1.5 inches. I had a 38, which is just a hair smaller than this. And then standard and metric, this is the closest. I wish it would have been bigger, because I was actually pounding on the inside lip of the bearing. But unless you have a seal and bearing driver set, you're kind of stuck using sockets, which ain't bad. It's just, you don't always get the exact size that you want. So that's the update so far. I want to put it back together and see if I can break it again. Well, I'll talk to you later, YouTubers. Hey YouTubers, well, I got that loosely bolted up. My adjuster's loosened. I got a new gray seal on this side. I don't know why the one on this side went bad, but if you notice, I put grease on it, which is obviously not a priority on whoever assembled this. Now, I slid my gear on here. I put a little grease on it because next time I take it apart, I don't want it to get stuck. And I'll try to do this one hand and not mess up my seals.
No, go up a little
Centered,
bit.
go up a little bit.
Side.
How's that? Okay, help me support that little buddy. The better doing this with one hand. Okay. Once it slides all the way in, that's it.
Now look that.
Yep. We put that in. Now, hold on. Turn it around, little buddy. Which side went in before? Well, that side shows, see? This side showed where, but it's nice to have your bolts on the outside so you could unbolt that. But this shows where on this side from where they didn't grease the seal. So I guess if you need to replace that, you're just out of luck, right? Because you ain't getting to them bolts. But that's the way it was. Oh, here, let me get it. Is that together? Handy dandy tray of hardware. And these two.
Can I turn it?
Yeah, let's find out which one went on first. I don't think it really matters, does it, little buddy?
Yeah.
And put that one on there. You don't have to tighten these very tight. Of course, I'm not a motorcycle mechanic either. So, take that with a word of a grain of... And big ones are hard to get started. There you go. But yeah, as long as this is pushed over and tight, the rear end should be all good to go. I'll run the first one in there with a pair of channel locks and then use a pipe wrench, not a pipe wrench, a adjustable wrench to get the second one because they're pretty big.
Yeah.
No, we need to get that in there a little tighter, buddy. It should be up against it. Now, I don't like to tighten them too much, and I may have to go back and tighten them later when the bearings get seated back in. But I don't go too much more than finger tight. Ain't no use to mess them up, but that's the rear end back together. I want to pump a ton of grease in there after I get this tight and put my wheels back on, put my little master cylinder back on. Oh yeah, I might want to put the chain if I ever want to go anywhere, right? That's 3/4. That's for these right here. But anyway, that's how the rear end goes together. I just wanted to.
Now we have to put the tires.
Well, we got to do a few more things first, okay? But we'll get her. But that's basically how the main rear end goes together. I'll show you here in a little bit. Next step. Hey, YouTubers. Well, she's off the jack stands, back on the ground. Good sign, I guess. Still not perfectly straight. Got a little bit bigger gap here than over here, but the tire isn't like pointed into there. It's kind of like here, and then this one's pointed kind of more to the outside. I mean, I don't know. The holes are straight. Something else is crooked. But anyway. That's the way I'm going to leave it. See what she does. Can't any more than fall apart on me. Yeah, I'm kind of discouraged on Chinese four-wheelers because everything is crooked and nothing, you know. Anyway, maybe take her out for a test drive tomorrow or something. I want to get these tools cleaned up. And it's way freaking late, isn't it? Great. Anyway, hey, you have a nice night. Talk to you later.